All right. Shalom. This is the brothers of GMS New Orleans coming at you with another live lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. And to the few sincere Akwat out there diligently learning in silence, Shalom. And with this lesson, the title of it is The Last Laugh, because, all the brothers, the few sisters out there go through their daily trials and tribulations, demons afflicting their bodies, their minds, and all that. But that's ultimately us getting, purged of our spiritual and physical ailments right now, and just getting ourselves mentally prepared for Jacob's trouble to come. While our people right now are living in their mirth, their happiness, not having to care in the world, which what very quickly there's going to be that role reversal where we're going to be the ones laughing and they're going to be the ones in that state of lamentation and mourning when all these troubles of Jacob's trouble are covering them like a garment. They're covered in that horror, as it says in Ezekiel. And the inspiration for this lesson, came from Apostle Gabar's lesson that he did. It was something along the lines of, yeah, things look shit right now, but hey, we have the truth. And he was profiling a guy that looked like a Jake, talking about how he had no hope in the world. He has no friends. He doesn't like people. People just treat him like shit. And he's talking about how life's never going to get better, and this is all it is. But then Apostle Gabar did a response saying, hey, we have those thoughts that, hey, people have this current system under Esau, Edom shit, but we have that hope. We have that expectation that this current system's going to end, and that new system, the kingdom of heaven, of eternal righteousness, is going to be established and go on, and all this. And there's going to be the wiping away of tears, no more lamenting or anything like that. But right now, we got to go through it. But very shortly, there's going to be that change where we're going to be the ones laughing, while these are people out here who didn't take heed to this word. And these heathens in general, they're going to go through it. They're going to be the ones mourning and lamenting. But we're going to start it off with Luke chapter 6, verse 25. And it's in red letter, so it's Yahushua speaking.
The St. Luke chapter 6, verse 25, it says, woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep.
And again, for the majority of our people out here, and these other heathens right now, they're, even though the situation is deteriorating on all levels in America, they've still got that proud mindset that it's just a little lull in things. In the long run, things are going to get better. So they're getting ready to spend all their money during the holiday season to try to get that spirit, so to speak, and hope for the best. But with the situation we're in, with World War III on the horizon, economic collapses and all that, they're about to go from being full to hungry and go from laughing to mourning, while we're going to have that reversal where we're going to be the ones laughing, and which we're going to get it later, as it says in Isaiah 65, my servant shall eat. When the times get tough, that's when Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, is going to set up that standard for his elect and bring to pass everything we've been prophesying, protecting us during Jacob's trouble, and ultimately salvation in the kingdom of heaven, which is definitely something to be in a cheerful spirit about. Again, while things are shit right now, we have that expectation that it's going to get better, and that this isn't the end all be all. But now we can go to that Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and start at verse 2 and read to verse 4. Baba Gasha.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2. I got a precept to back you up with this too. It says, it is better to go into the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting.
Keep going.
That, go ahead.
Oh, you can finish it off.
It says, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart.
It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Because when you're in that house of feasting, you're given into the pleasures and the lusts of the flesh, and you're worldly, you're carnal, you're hoping on this system to continue. You're trying to keep those thoughts of this system going away far from your mind. But when you're in the house of mourning, having this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're tempering your expectations, expecting, troubles to come our way, situations with the job, with the car, with your family members, your loved one, your children. But that these situations we're going through right now are just building up our spirits, toughening us up. So when things really get bad, hey, the only thing we've got to look forward to is going forward and not going back to our problems. Because as brothers always say, once Jacob's trouble hits, and all that stuff comes down the line, all these issues that seem big right now are going to be a thing of the past. Paying rent, having to go to the job, all that is going to be, even though we're relying on Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai right now, especially then, we're going to be especially relying on Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and fully, engulfed in that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and that expectation that he's going to have our back in that day. But you said you had a precept, Bach?
Khan, hey, when you go, like you mentioned about, the Apostle Gabar did the lesson about the man was sorrowful, which, in the next verse is going to say, I'm going to read the next verse, and the precept that I got going to being sorry. It says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better.
Khan, a sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart or the mind is made better. Because what? In order to build yourself up, and that goes with anything in life, if you want to get a so-called promotion, when it comes to working out, the process to get to your goal is what? It's full of pain and sorrow and hard work. It's building yourself up. It's building up your endurance mentally and physically, which is exactly, what these situations we're going through right now are doing. So what? We can ultimately have that laughter, that earnest expectation once things really get bad out here. We didn't spend this time of liberty, being in that mirthful spirit, being in that carnal spirit, just enjoying pleasures here and there, and becoming like a drug addict with it, getting addicted to those pleasures. So when they're taken away, those withdrawals are just hard like that, and you don't know what to do. You're willing to take any solution that comes your way to get back to that sense of pleasure.
Yeah, they had this. I had looked up the word sorrow online at the Etymology, and what jumped out to me, it says to be sick, which they got different ones: grief, regret, trouble, wisdom of Solomon, one to need, and much wisdom is much grief. All right, but though, yeah, we grieved and distressed, we not killed. All right, we persecuted and different things. We not dead. We have hope. We have a lively hope. And once you really much don't have hope, it says the hope of the righteous is salvation, but the hope of the wicked is only wrath. So like the guy that you said was like, man, I don't have any friends, the want and the cares of this world has pretty much made him sick and sorrowful. All right, but we have a healer that's coming with healing in his wings. So being sorry is really what you need to be in order to receive Yahweh Shai, man. He made us sick so he could heal us. It says to worry, to be sick. All right, so it's two different worries we have. All right, give pain, anxiety, pain. But this is the verse that I had. It says Sirach, Salaki, brother. Let me get the right one. Oh yeah, Sirach 38. See what I wanted to start at. My bad, Salaki.
That's all good.
18. I'm gonna start at 18. It says, I'm gonna start at 17. It says, we bitterly and make great mourn and use lamentation, and he is worthy. And that a day or two least thou be evil spoken of, and then comfort thyself for thy heaviness. For of heaviness cometh death, and the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength. But we have a different type of heaviness. The heaviness of our heart make us stronger, because even when we're afflicted, like you say, we still have the word, we have this truth, we have treasures in earthen vessels. Okay, so as it allow us to prevail. And really, if something break you down, if something hinder you, but it also makes you prevail, it's really to prevail in it. It ain't really what hindering you. It says, in affliction also sorrow remaineth, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart, which we once had that curse of the heart. All right, now we blessed at the heart, because why? Yahweh shall have supped with us, man. All right, he have caused us to increase. All right, and find a medicine which helps our heart. It
If
says,
I can say real quick,
got
one
it.
word that keeps coming up is bitter.
Bitter.
Bitter. And what are the herbs? They're bitter. You know,
Mhm.
they're bitter when you take them, but then they're what actually heals you. The more bitter something is, the more it heals you, because you can fit, because it's actually working within your body and killing those ailments. But when you are constantly tasting sweet things, you know, so to speak, you just get worse out here. And it's no different with this truth. We take the bitter spiritual herbs of this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and it's healing us spiritually. It's bringing us to where we need to be. While these people out here are taking the sweet things, the soft things, as it says in Isaiah chapter 30, and what it's making them wax worse and worse, bringing them further into that house of feasting and laughter, which, as it said back in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, is the end of all men.
Yeah,
real fast.
this the last verse. It says, Sirach 38 and 20, take no heaviness to heart, drive it away, and remember the last end. You got it right.
Kind. And hey, while we do go through heaviness, like you were saying, it's a different type of heaviness. We don't take it to heart as the end all be all, because we know what our earnest expectation is if we endure. We know that everything's written in stone, that hey, we must go through these things, but what, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, as it says in Ecclesiasticus chapter 7, that narrow path that only one man can go at a time, with the fire and the water at the left and the right hand. You have to go through that narrow path with much danger set before you can get into that broad field with that great city set upon it, the kingdom of heaven. But
yeah, a quick one. I think the elder had one though.
Yeah, this is Revelation 10 and 9. It says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it, eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I have eaten it, my belly was bitter.
hey, when you digested it, you know, spiritually, because we know your stomach can be symbolic for your spirit. When we heard that we were Israelites and that the kingdom was coming to us and that our enemies would be under our feet, it was sweet. It was sweet medicine. You know, we were sick, and we heard that we had to take these things to be healed. But once we digested those things, once you digest those bitter herbs, then what becomes hard in your belly becomes bitter in your belly, because that comes with that expectation of actually having to go through that suffering and, knowing the truth, and then, just going through it and enduring. And hey, the weight, there's some saying out there, it's like, the wait is the hardest part. We wait and we're constantly, hoping that the next day is the time when all hell breaks loose. But, that's building that endurance, that patience, being in that house of mourning, tempering our spirit.
And just another thing, I'm gonna pose a question to you, brothers. Is what when we have the time of the Passat and we take the harsh rashes and bitter herbs, what that's supposed to represent?
Bitterness of the truth.
Bitterness.
Captivity.
Bitterness of the truth, the captivity. So everything coincides with each other. Yahweh Shai being a physician, the physician does what? He prescribes you not this carbon chemical medicine that these devils give you, but he give you what? He prescribes you bitter herbs. So the bitter herb does what? it heals the body, man. And the main body part that Yahweh Shai prescribed us, the main for the heal is our minds, all right? And this truth and that Bible, all right? All those things are coincide as medicine to heal us, all right? Because we was sick. We was beyond sick, man. The scripture tell you, that we were so sick, it was like putrefying sores. We was jacked up from head to toe, man. All right, and we still see that, we the ones that more or less was able to heal. And when we look aside to us, to the left and right of us, we see 2/3 of our people, what? They still sick in the head, man. All right? Not knowing their power and so on and so forth. But go ahead,
Kind.
Right on time. Just real quick, this letter to Hebrews, chapter 2, verse 10. For it became him, Yahushua, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. So our salvation is made perfect through sufferings. So if you're not suffering, you're not being made perfect. You really in the world, you enjoying your life, which is bugged out, okay? Because we don't have a life in this world. We're at the bottom of society. We don't have any power. So if you're enjoying that means you enjoying slavery. You're supposed to be, oppression make a wise man mad. You got it, huh?
Hey, that's the spirit, because the next precept I wanted to go into is that Hebrews chapter 12, showing that, hey, when you get chastened by the Lord, that means he's dealing with you as with sons. And I believe the brother from GMS Virgin Island Straightgate put a part of it on the comment board, and Shalom Akim Yehovah Shem Yahshai Barakathon on the comment board. And that's an indicator to know that we're still in the fight, that we're going through it, that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai dealing with us when trials, tribulations going our way, when things, in the world don't go our way. Yeah, it gets to you sometimes when you see, people that are just complete degenerates out here seem like they're getting away with everything. But hey, we're coming to that time where, again, there's going to be that role reversal where those that are full and laughing now are going to be empty and starving and crying later, while we're going to be the ones, full, first and foremost, full spiritually and happy spiritually. And then the Most High is going to set up our physical needs as well during Jacob's trouble. But again, we know that by going through, our ailments and our different things in our daily life, that means that the Most High is still dealing with us. And as the Apostle Paul said in 2 Corinthians, hey, he glorifies in his ailments, because what the Most High has made strong, through weakness, that shows the power of the Most High, that we can go through all these things and take them and still make it through the other end, ultimately see salvation. But with that Hebrews chapter 12, you can start at verse 5. Shouldn't read all the way down to 11. And if any brothers have any precepts in between, y'all can bring them out.
God. This Hebrews 12, verse 5, it says, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him.
A point blank period. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. What's it saying? Sirach chapter 2. My son, when thou cometh to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And when we signed our name on the dotted line, so to speak, and we knew everything that comes with it, the trials, the tribulations, the persecution, possibly even death for some of us out here. But what, enduring all that, and you make it out on the other end. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. Because as what brothers have been going into with their precepts, with the sorrow and the bitterness, that's actually what's building us up, making us stronger, making us rely less on this world and more on Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai as the end all be all, as what's going to get us through our dark times right now, and especially the dark times that seem like there's going to be no way out during Jacob's trouble for these people out here that are spending this time, just catering to their lusts and their pleasures and their lasciviousness.
Verse 6, it says, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth.
And hey, that's a big motivator right now. Going through it and continuing to go through it just goes to show what? That Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai loves you loves you enough to be as a father that chastens his son for the better. Because as it's also going to go into, if you're not getting chastened by the Lord, then what, you're a bastard. You're fatherless out here. You got it, Kaya.
I got you one.
Okay.
Isaiah 38 and I'll start at 17. Well, 17 a point. It says, behold, for peace I had great bitterness, which again, peace and bitterness they contrast to each other. They're contrary. All right, they're one on the other. So how can one give you the other or the other give you the one? It said, for behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. For thou hast cast all my sins behind thy back. You got it.
Khan. Reread it again, Baba Gashad.
Isaiah 38 and 17. It says, behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. For thou hast cast all my sins behind my back.
Hey, this bitterness we're going through right now is what, delivering us from the corruption, if we truly believe in the scriptures, because, believing in about Hashem and following after his ways means what? We have to take ourselves away from this world. And what does that take us away from? The temptations, the sin out here, which ultimately delivers us from the pit and, ultimate judgment that's coming these people's ways.
You want to go back in that Hebrews 12?
Khan. That was it, Kaya?
That's it.
Khan. And that's another part of it, just enduring, and staying true to the word and not giving in. Because as we get closer to the end, and, a lot of brothers can attest to it, the things that, you may have enjoyed in the world or whatnot, they seem to be coming at you, coming at you straightforward or coming at you subtly to make you go off. But what? That just, again, makes us lean more and more unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, going into that house of mourning, trusting in him and not giving in, because, you make that one wrong move and slip, you never get back up.
This verse 7, it says, if ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?
Hey, if you endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. If you keep enduring, if you keep taking that chastisement, not as something to destroy you, or not as something that's a waste of time, but you understand what it's for, to make you better, then the Most High is dealing with you as a son, and it's going to continue to deal with you as a son. You're not going to aparatazah, you're not going to get bugged out and fall back into the world and become, worse off than you were, even before you were in the world, because it says all throughout the scriptures that, as a dog returneth unto his vomit, worse is that state of the man, that latter state of the man, because, you heard the word, you heard the truth, you've seen the truth, but what you gave all that up to go back into the world, that means you're going to get beaten with many stripes, and your end is just going to be that much worse.
It says, but if ye be without chastisement, whereof are slacking. If ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons.
Hey, as brothers also say, if you're just going through your walk with nothing happening to you, you better really be questioning yourself, because all throughout the scriptures, it says that, hey, we're going to go through it. We have to expect these hard times. And, again, that's ultimately what's making you better. But if you're just gliding through everything, chances are you're not of that elect number. And the Most High is dealing with you as not a son, as a bastard. And you're just in that house of mourning, which, again, is ultimately going to be the end of all men. Hey, where the majority of our people are going.
And I'm going to say this, too. In the process of your fall and slipping, sometimes you, as the individual, have to realize and take a second before you get back up. Why and look around, understand why you fell. Why is the Lord doing this to me? All right, because most people just slip and fall and get right back up and never take in the process of why does keep on happening. And sometimes the Lord keeps letting the same thing happen because you haven't grown. All right, you haven't conquered whatever particular thing you thought you conquered, man. All right, and like I said, I'm saying that from experience. The Lord kicking my ass for shit, man. You know, not having patience in the beginning and different things like that. You know, but over time, you gotta overall look at the situation or whatever blow that happened to you and understand why it's happening. All right, and sometimes you don't realize it till years later down the line. Like, damn, I went through that. All right, and the Lord might test you again. I went through that because I didn't have patience. I was a hothead. You know, I was however you was when you first coming in, because those particular traits, those negative traits that we come into the truth with, have to die off, man. Right, and the Lord tests those things, man. Go ahead,
Con, you can't take those vices into Jacob's trouble, because when things are on the line right now, but when they're really on the line, when it's making life or death decisions, and those things you didn't conquer, you know, during this grace period come upon you and you give into it, that's definitely going to be your final cut. That's definitely going to be when you just get completely taken out. No more second chances on things. So to back up what the elder brother was saying, you know, it would behoove you right now, if you know you're going through things and it's a situation that keeps coming up, to really examine it, not to, you know, just, I don't want to say, you know, just not get back up on your feet, but, you know, really not brush it under the rug and just automatically be like, okay, I went through it, I understand it's something, so I got to work on it. Really marinate on what that is.
Yeah, analyze your situation, man. Truly analyzing your situation. Because like this brother, he kind of hinted on, you know, talking about the brother Riot. You know, I know that over time, that was once a saying among GMS, you know, early on. There's only two things going on with the Lord trying to do. Either the Lord trying to destroy you, or he's trying to build you up. All right. But go ahead,
I think you had a point, Kaya.
Yeah, just to back y'all up, in Luke 21:19, it says, in your patience possess ye your soul. So patience, go back to, you know, you suffer or you're afflicted, but you still got to possess your soul, which anything you got a possession of or you're keeping watch over, because you have a possession of something, you have a duty for it. All right, you have to keep watch over it. You have to, you know, do the things it consists of, basically retaining and obtaining. All right, so as you in your patience and you suffering, bro, just understand what you're suffering for. Who's suffering? Then just don't, like, if your arm hurt, do you never go find out why your arm and your ribs, you know, your whatever hurting? You just never go find out why it's hurting. You just let it hurt and just don't do nothing about it. Nah, man, it's the same with us in the ministry. You got it, bro.
Kind. You can keep going in that Hebrews chapter 12. Amawad Baba Kasha.
Verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?
Hey, straight to the point. You know, we've had, you know, brothers that have been blessed to have, you know, fathers or mentors in their life. You know, they gave them advice based off of their experiences in the flesh. And, you know, a lot of it was good advice and whatnot, but it really never gave you the answers, or the answers that you really needed, which when we came into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we got every answer we needed, you know, why we're in this situation we're in, you know, what's about to come and what we need to do to ultimately receive salvation. And a part of that being what? The sufferings that we have to go through, because, you know, people in the world that you looked up to, the advice they gave you was for what? For you not to suffer, because they're going through their past life experiences. And, you know, just being in this flesh, the last thing you want to do is suffer. So a lot of advice you get from people is, you know, to troubleshoot things, so to speak. But what this truth gives you is tell you, no, you got to go through it. You got to go through the fire, and you got to expect to be in that fire. But what? It's ultimately going to try you and burn off those impurities and make you a better person at the end, giving you what you need instead of what you want to hear.
Yeah, and at some point, those same demons that you're running from, the best way to conquer them is to turn around and face them. That's the best way. That's the best thing to do. You got to face those demons, man. All right? And conquer them. before they conquer you, because we don't have that much time. You know. Weird up.
Hey, that's a beautiful point you made. In any situation in your life that's ever been daunting, what if you handled that situation head on like a man, whatever the outcome was, you at least stood up to it and handled it instead of constantly running away from it and the situation just getting worse and worse and worse until it became completely overwhelming to where it became insurmountable. As it says, he that contendeth small things falleth he that contendeth small things falleth little by little. You just covering, putting dirt over a situation, brushing it under the carpet. What it's just gonna, it's the problem didn't go away. You just pushed it to the side for a little season, but eventually you're gonna have to face it head on.
Yeah, turn around. Just turn around and face the demon, man. And man, fuck up. All right, like we used to go. There's a video we did back then. All right, like the old Dallas. Well, the Dallas camp that you see today. If they used to have another name, whatever it was called, Man of Jacob. All right, man up, Jacob, and that's what Jake needs to do on a constant basis. To man up. A lot of dudes come in with these traits of little boys, man, and don't want to man up to whatever situation comes into play in their own lives, all right, even in the ministry, all right. Jake, and a lot of dudes want to stay in that Peter Pan. Some of them got that Peter Pan syndrome, man. You want to, live in that little boy world, man. Never wanting to grow up. You gotta grow up, man. The scripture tell you, when I became a man, I put away childish things. You gotta really set yourself on a different level. All right, it's more than just cussing the white man out, as the apostles always say. All right, as different brothers and elders always say, and that's a true statement. It's more. This truth is way bigger than just cussing the white man out. You doing an overhaul of your damn self, man. Day in and day out in the truth. All right, even when the most important thing, when the cameras is off, when nobody sees you. All right, when the brothers ain't around, what are you doing? What is your mindset? What is your daily conversation with a brother or just an average person in the world? How you are processing the day-to-day of you? All right, but go ahead.
Hey, that's where it really counts, when nobody's looking, because when you're on the camera and when you're around brothers, when you're around a bunch of righteous men, it's so-called easy for you to be righteous and you don't want to slip up. But when you're in your daily life dealing with these defiled people out here, that's where it really counts. How are you going to conduct yourself in your day-to-day lives? And again, this whole society taught us to be everything opposite of what a man is and what a man's supposed to be. Opposite of, responsibility, putting things on other people and, just, sitting on your ass, so to speak. But this truth really makes you reflect and look at yourself in the mirror. You have to, this truth really makes you do some soul searching. And a lot of the things you see in the mirror is a lot of ugly things that you would rather turn away from and not look at, because it's just so shameful when you do look at these things. And in some instances, it feels like it just completely breaks your spirit that you have these thoughts, or you so-called capable of doing these things. But that's where the growth happens. You can't know that you have a problem until you acknowledge that problem. And then with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, it gives you all the answers to build yourself back up and become a true man, a man of the Lord. And that bitterness, that chastisement, that mourning is a major process of it. Because if you have no tension, no stress or anything, you can't build yourself up. As they have that saying, pressure is what makes diamonds. Like that hard, beautiful looking, substance, that indestructible substance can only be made by that pressure to form it, to make it into that finished product. But
read on down to what, 11?
Kind.
Down this verse 10, it says, "For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure," talking about our earthly fathers, "but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness."
A point blank period. For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure. You grew up with a mentor or a father figure. In a lot of cases, as sad as it is to say, your mom took that fatherly role, and they only dealt with you for so long until what? They got tired of dealing with you, and the flesh kicked in. But the Most High deals with us for our profit. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is dealing with us and giving us all the answers we need to truly build ourselves up and be successful, and ultimately to endure the chastening and the things we got to go through so we can make it out through the other end.
God, it says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. And every brother on this camera, myself included, we've gone through our trials and tribulations where at the moment you just feel like shit. You feel down, and sometimes you feel like you can never get through that situation. But when you sit back and reflect and lean on to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and the brothers for answers, and you take the advice that they actually give you, when you're further down the line and go through situations, those previous situations you went through and had to be chastised for, but you built yourself up from them through the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're able to handle them and actually see, look, now I know how to handle this situation or answer this question, because what? It was something weak that was in me, but in the past, having to go through that grievous part, now I'm receiving the peaceable fruits of it. I'm a much better person overall for it, for that stern, rebuke or chastisement that you had to go through. But I think you had something you wanted to say, Kaya?
Con, I got a precept for you.
Con.
There's Psalm 66 and 10. I'm gonna read this 12. It says, "For thou, O power, has proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried. Thou boarded us into the net. Thou laidest affliction upon our loins." You could break it down every one.
Hey, what does it say at the beginning? Thou hast tried us as what does it say? Gold and silver is tried.
I'm gonna read it again. Psalm 66 and 10. It says, "For thou, O power, has proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried."
And hey, there's that example that Edomite looking lady brought up where, she would read those precepts dealing with, what did it mean? What did the Most High mean when he was referring to going through trials and tribulations as gold and silver being refined in the fire? And she actually talked to like a goldsmith about it. And he said, when you take that hard, rough lump and, put it through that purging process in the fire and form it, it eventually shines to where you see your reflection in it. So if I could just say, that's the process we're going through right now. That fire of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai to be turned into that rough, coarse, base lump of metal to be refined into that pure, clear gold and silver to where the reflection of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai can be seen in us.
If you take the example of a rapper, like guys that made it, all they talk about is the pain and the struggle they went through. That's what they albums be about. It's like, bro, you ain't going through that no more. So why you're rapping and talking about that? Because that's what made them got them to the point that they got to. That's why when we in the kingdom, right, we gonna talk about what the things that we endured, all right, and that we sacrifice and suffice for. We gonna talk about that. All right. Now we're gonna be doing kingdom-like things and being positioned as kings and gods. All right, but the Lord gonna allow us to remember, because even in our walk right now, he tell us according to Jeremiah 6 and 16 to look back. What are we looking back for? All right, like why look to the path of our fathers so we can know what to do when situations arise. All right, because we're about to get tempted and tried. All right, and brought through that fire. So same like it says in Psalm 66 and 10, it says 11, "Thou broughtest us into the net." Right? The Lord brought us and put us in the net, the trap, or the snare. Thou laidest affliction upon our loins. You can speak, right?
Hey, the Most High didn't, give us a detour away from the danger. The Most High brought us straight through it to what? Refine us for, to try us and prepare us for these things, right now, and especially during Jacob's trouble. So we would have the answers and the mental, acuity, clarity, spiritual clarity to get through it.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead. So
oh, no, you got it.
Yeah, Jake. That's only Jake only reminisce on the past because that's what made his future, man. All right, that's what prepared his future, and that's why Jake talk about that shit all the time, man. What do you got a $2 billion? You talking about, when you was doing this and doing that? What are you talking about, man? It should be about what you're about to do and accomplish, man. All right, but
Hey,
it says
got that saying. They got that saying: the journey is more important than the destination.
Yeah.
Because you appreciate the destination more because of the journey you went through. We're going to appreciate the kingdom on a whole nother level, because once we're, in rulership and righteousness, we've seen what it's been to be at the bottom, to be looked at as less than nothing, to see what a wicked kingdom, wicked ways that we have no control over, leads to. And I mean, that's what's going to make us the perfect judges. And, those gods knowing good and evil. We couldn't know both sides of the coin unless we had that fall, unless we had these trials that we went through.
And that's why the Lord made us walk the straight gate. He made us walk through the only wealthy way that was to get to the kingdom of heaven. He like, look, if you want to be wealthy, this the only way you could go. It's going to be fire and water, but he made us walk that straight and narrow, like that position of difficulty. All right. In order to make things easy, you got to weather the difficulty, man. All right. That's just what it is. It says 66:12, thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. We went through fire and through water, but thou brought us out into a wealthy place. You got it.
Hey, he called men to ride over our heads, our enemies ruling over us and abusing us. But what? Definitely abusing and ruling over us, and taking away everything from us, taking away our confidence, taking away the true idea of masculinity, taking away our women, every single thing. But what the Most High brought us, by giving us this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, brought us through that narrow path and gave us the wherewithal to do so and the tools to do so, to what? We could make it into that broad field, to make it out on the other end, tried and refined, and those perfect rulers in the kingdom of heaven. That was it on that.
Yeah, that was it.
Kind of. Did any brothers have any other precepts? Because if not, we can go to. Let me see. We can go to that's Sirach chapter 2. You can start at verse 1, and let's see. Shit. Read down to verse 7. I was looking for some ways to shortcut it, but
see, wow.
Book of Sirach chapter 2, starting at the top. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Keep going.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble.
Again, as the elder brother brought out earlier, when this truth came into our mouth, it was sweet as honey. We found out our identity. We found out we would rule over our enemies and, finally be at peace. But once it got into our belly, it got bitter. The temptation came, having to actually walk the path of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and, avoid all the pitfalls that came our way. And as it says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Not lean unto your own understanding, but when you get into a situation, actually apply these scriptures that you've been learning. It should start to get to the point to where any situation you get into, scripture should just be coming to your head on how to navigate through it. You don't lean unto your own thoughts, your own lusts, and give into it. You got to start tempering that flesh. You really, because it is hard out here, trust me. But you just got to temper, your emotions and your desires, and just strictly lean on Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that's been given to us.
It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. So like in verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
Hey, back in that Hebrews chapter 12, now no chastisement at the present, it seems grievous and not pleasurable, but at the end, it ultimately gives those fruits of peace, those fruits of righteousness, that latter end, making it through Jacob's trouble, getting beamed up on the chariots, and ultimately being that first fruits, the elect in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, children don't like being spanked. They don't like punishments. But then as an adult, you look back like, man, I'm glad I didn't grow up to be a damn degenerate. You see what happens when children aren't chastised. They just become monsters, man.
Exactly. Hey, that's a beautiful point. Growing up, you see the kids that their parents, you think, oh, because my parents are getting on me, they want me to do my homework, have like a curfew to get in, or even get a job when you're in high school, that, man, I'm wasting my time. I should be out enjoying my youth, while you got those friends that their parents are never around. They can come and go as they please and all that shit. But as the brother Amawad was saying, once you're actually an adult, with responsibilities, and you look back at them, what are they more often than not? In jail, they're a drug addict. They're just a fucking loser out here.
Yeah. Because their parents spared the rod.
Mm-hmm.
It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Kind of. Baba Kasha, to back that up, could somebody give me 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses, you can start at verse 8 and read to verse 10, Baba Kasha, because I wanted to back up that point where it said, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Because again, we know that if the Most High is dealing with us, hey, that comes with that chastisement, and it shows we're getting dealt with as sons. And when you actually analyze, the things you're going through, you can see that first you believe that it's for my betterment in my walk and in my life. Then once you get further down in your walk, when that situation comes up again that you were chastised before about, and you're able to navigate through it, and conquer those challenges. You're able to look that demon in the face, and you actually glorify in it, knowing that, look, the more things that are put upon me and I handle it, the more confident I become, the more of a man of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai I become, the more righteous I become, and the less I care about the things in this world, the desires and the lust of the flesh. But you got it, Khan.
Mm-hmm. This 2 Corinthians 12, verse 8. It says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me.
And this is the Apostle Paul talking, because it said the Most High put a thorn in his flesh in the verse up. And we've got our physical and our mental and our spiritual elements that we go through, and we pray and fast to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai for him to take them off. But sometimes the Most High will leave them on you to what? Build you up, to see how you're going to handle it. And you need to go through those things for a season to build up your fortitude for them. Keep going on.
God, 8 and thrice or 3, but with the understand that spiritually, that usually means understanding. All right. So even when Paul, did this thing, he did it 3 times. The Lord made him understand what he's about to do to him. All right. It says, and he said, just like you have the account where Samuel, I believe the Lord called Samuel 3 times?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was Samuel. I think it was Samuel.
Yeah, I know it was Samuel.
And his father told him the 3rd time when he called you, that's the Lord. He thought his father was calling him. It says 2 Corinthians 12 and 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
Hey, Khan. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. Hey, just believing, in the process, believing in the words that I've given you, that's sufficient enough for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Hey, we see the power and the glory of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai when we go through our ailments, and sometimes we really got to stew in them. But what? When we rely on Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, he gets us through it. And we're a better person for it once we come out the other end.
I got it right here that I mentioned. This is in 1 Samuel 3 when Eli. It says 1 Samuel 3 and 4, that the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here am I, for thou callest me. And he said, I called not. Lie down again. And he went and lay down, and the Lord called, the Lord is in all caps, called yet again Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he said, I called not, my son. Lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, know Yahweh, that's in caps. Neither was the word of Yahweh yet revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time. So it's the same thing Paul prayed thrice too. All right. It says, and he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that Yahweh had called the child. So the third, most of the time spiritually, you can, it's synonymous with understanding, man. All right. But you got it, brother.
Oh, kind. You can keep reading that 2 Corinthians, Baba Kasha.
It says, most gladly, the rest of the verse in verse 9. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me.
Hey, we glory in these infirmities. We glory in these chastisements because we ultimately know that it means that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah is dealing with us as with sons. And back in that Sirach 2, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Because we know if we endure those things, we're going to come out on the other end better for it, more built up. We've conquered what we thought before was an insurmountable, issue with us. And then once you conquer that builds your confidence in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, that you can keep going. But you can read that verse 10, Baba Kasha.
Therefore, I take pleasures in infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions and distresses for the Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong.
Hey, because we trust in the process, we know that trusting in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is ultimately for our betterment. And you start to, I'm not going to say you look forward to it, but when these situations come your way, you know that, hey, this Abarat Zad does it, but this isn't to destroy me. This is to make me better. I've seen what the Most High brought me through before the fire, and I made it through that. So this is just another challenge to build me up, to make me that much closer to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, make me that much more a purified piece of gold and silver that the Most High can see his reflection in, that sun that he loves and cares about. But you can read that verse 5 back in Sirach chapter 2, Baba Kasha.
It's back in Sirach 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
A point blank period. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men that are accepted of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, in the furnace of adversity, taught to be accepted, be those sons, be of that elect number, that first fruits. But,
believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
Keep going.
Ye that fear Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall.
Hey, and it all speaks for itself. Wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Read verse 8.
Ye that fear Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, believe him, and your reward shall not fail.
And we do believe in the ways of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. We take this chastisement, cheerfully, and what? We know that we're supposed to go through it. The persecutions, the afflictions, everything we got to deal with. But at the end of the day, what comes up that, dominion, the kingdom, the reward being of that elect number. But let me see. Did any brothers have any precepts?
Nah.
Well, we can close it out in 2nd Esdras chapter 7, verses 6 to 9.
2nd Esdras 7. In 2nd Esdras chapter 7, verse 6, it says, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things.
Hey, the kingdom of heaven, which we're diligently working towards, eternal righteousness, eternal peace, and, everything you've ever desired, going your way, of course, righteousness, no more pain, no more crying, no more loss, all of that being a thing of the past, no more death, being an immortal. Keep going on.
The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
Hey, the entrance thereof is narrow, with fire on the right hand and water on the left. Walking that straight and narrow path, being in that house of mourning, which, as we've been going into, it comes with a lot of stuff. It comes with bitterness and having to cut things off and not giving into the lusts and the pleasures, which is what the house of feasting is, which, as the brother Kaya always likes to say, the world is strong. For one man, one individual man, there's so many things coming your way, and especially when we've been deprived of so many things all our lives, it gets tempting, very tempting. But with that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we're able to stay on that narrow path going forward and not, falling off the path into that wide path of destruction where the majority of our people, these heathens are going.
Hey, that's why we have good success and wisdom, man. Because a man having wisdom separated itself. Well, he intermeddled with wisdom, he separated himself. Hey, we stay out the way of the world, man. Brothers do less and less. Less is more in the world that we live in. All right. The less you're doing, the more better things are, the better results, man. We kind of stay out the world. We get what we use the world. We don't abuse it. We get out the way. We grab what we grabbing for the most part. And brothers need a routine, man. We can't just be fucking outside all times of the night. Now, brothers work and different things like that. But if you got any kind of wisdom in your head, man, hey, man, come on, bro. The world's strong. You can have all the wisdom in the world. You won't go take on the world. You just want to be a mighty warrior, a soldier for the Lord. Be like, I got this truth, man. I'm ready to go in the roughest hoods, the roughest areas. I'm ready to let them know this word, man. I'm going to put this word on them. All right? You're going to get mollywopped. Especially where I live, where all brothers live. We all live in fucking low areas, right? The rich sit in low places. But hey, at the end of the day, go your ass home.
At the end of the day, we know that Esau done turned this whole damn planet into a trap house. So it don't even matter where the hell you at. Everywhere is dangerous. All right. Some more than others, but everywhere is dangerous, man. You gotta use wisdom. There's no need to be at the gas stations sitting there all day at the goddamn pump. All right, on your phone.
In your car.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no need to be riding around late at night for a booty call from Sexy Red, man. All right, you're going to get more than what you're looking for in a lot of ways. All right.
Hey, dealing
Go
with people from your past, dealing from people with your past that were into the things that you were into, because what that just, brings those spirits around, brings that temptation around. It says in Proverbs, a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but a fool, goes straight into it, lacketh wisdom and understanding, and just, gets destroyed for it.
Hey, when you get wisdom, brother, your friends should be diminishing. In the Lord, brother. You shouldn't be increasing with friends. I mean that. When you serving the Lord, brother, your circle should be thinning out, brother. Almost to where, because the people that was around you Everybody ain't serving the Lord, man. Like, what we doing? All right, your circle should be getting small. All right, that way the Lord minimize you to maximize you. He minimize the things you was heavily in, chiefly in, so he can maximize you in the ministry, man. All right, at the end of the day, man, that's the theme of this walk, of you walk. All right, we minimizing to maximize, man. All right, and this is it. This is verse 8.
I think you had something, Mama Wad. I just wanted to say real quick, just to back you up, your circle becomes small. What does it do? It becomes narrow. You walk more and more on that straight and that narrow path, and it becomes that much more, tighter and tighter to where it's about to go into that only one man could go through at a time. But you got it, Mama Wad.
Yeah, real quick, 7 words. St. John 3:30. He must increase, but I must decrease. Straight to the point.
Khan. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai must increase, but I must decrease. Decrease in your cares and your affairs and, whatever wishes or aspirations or dreams you had, so that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and you being a servant unto him can increase, because Yahweh Shai is what's bringing us, everything we've ever wanted. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is bringing us everything we've ever wanted. That ultimate peace and rest and dominion and that kingdom, that great city that is set upon that hill in that broad place.
Verse 8.
Okay.
And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
Hey, as we keep going, just to back you up, hey, your friend circle becomes smaller, and just the things you do in the world become smaller and smaller. Everything just becomes that much stricter. That you get set in that routine, and just keep going, and not look to the left or to the right, because that, hey, a lot of things in this world, they could catch your eye, and that could be the last thing they ever catch. Last thing your eyes ever catch before you fall off the side into that wide path of destruction, that wide fire, that wide water. But you can read that verse 9.
That's 8. Okay, yeah, come Shalom. It says, if this city now was given to a man for inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
Hey, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, we got to go through it. The bitterness, the chastisement, the persecutions, the afflictions, everything we deal with, we have to go through it, because as it says, how shall he receive this inheritance? Hey, the Most High wants to see that we're worthy to receive this reward, that, we fully trusted in him, giving up the ways of this world, decrease, so that we could give into the ways of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, so that they could increase, that ultimately we could increase with them. But
let me jump to 14 now.
Okay.
It says, if then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. Yeah.
If they labor not to enter into these things or go through it, deal with the chastisement, just deal with everything that comes our way, then are they not worthy, to receive the kingdom, to receive, that reward?
That's right.
But that's all I had. Did any brothers have any precepts or closing points they wanted to make?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Hey, so with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified by this lesson. And again, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Barakah Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure to the end. Shalom.
Shalom.